Hanzo Shimada, the sniper who cannot snipe. Hi everybody, my name is Abby. Welcome to the video. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Hanzo has basically lost a lot of his identity and his playstyle of being a character that's been completely defined to be a mid-range to long-range-ish sniper character. And despite all the different states of the game that we've been in, he's been able to consistently maintain that identity for himself throughout the lifespan of Overwatch since its release. It is extremely weird to end up in the current state of the game where he cannot headshot people, and because of it, a lot of power has been stripped from the character. And not only that, the character feels miserable to play, that when you do line up that one headshot and it does hit somebody on the head, you're just standing there like, oh wow, that person is going to survive because now I blink and now they're back to full HP. And it's absolutely ridiculous that other quote-unquote one-shots in the game have had their strength completely maintained. Sojourn basically tickles someone slightly and then blows their head off in the next second right away. Roadhog, nice and easy, pulls you in, gives you a nice hug, puts his arm around your shoulder, whispers something dirty in your ear before sending you back to the pig house where he's going to eat you alive then the next second. And then there's characters like Widowmaker where, you know, she's never going to lose her one-shot because, again, we have a hit scan bias in Overwatch, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, but I kind of want to rant about, you know, just how poorly Hanzo has been maintained within this game. And soon enough, we'll be talking about another projectile DPS here soon. Symmetra. Symmetra is another character. Symmetra is by far, in my opinion, the worst character in the game, and we seriously on this channel need to sit down and talk about her and what we can do for her as well. But today is about Hanzo, so let me get back to him. Now, talking about Hanzo. Hanzo, again, has been always designed from the POV that he's going to be a sniper. Now, throughout the lifespan of Overwatch 2, I don't think there's ever been a point where Hanzo has been the meta go-to pick. So I don't understand the need and necessity to address Hanzo. And because in 5v5 the game is a little bit faster than, you know, the way 6v6 was played, and DPS have a little bit more freedom, usually if the enemy team is playing like a good poke comp or a decent dive comp, that Hanzo is not going to survive. Now, Hanzo against poke is just kind of a skill matchup of Hanzo playing into people that hopefully he can outsnipe. If he can't, well, it's skill issue, right? But usually into dive comps, it's very easy to get rid of Hanzo. Seriously, Genji, Sombra, Pharah, the Sojourn, Venture, a good Widowmaker. There's a bunch of DPS characters that have a good matchup against him. And for people that are wondering, from the tank, you know, you can have a Doomfist harassing him, D.Va shutting down his shots, you know, Ryan just shield botting it. Although that's kind of slight sometimes to the Ryan's detriment. You have characters like Ursa who can out poking. You can have characters like Sigma shut down the angles he wants to take. Winston Wrecking Ball diving on top of him. You know, on support you have characters like Honor Zen who can take their shots at him and force him away. Kiriko does a pretty good job of landing headshots into his head hitbox. You have Lucio who can, you know, wall ride and boop him out of position or isolate him with the tank and delete that guy. Iliari actually has a very good matchup into Hanzo as well. So Hanzo is a character that without his one shot, he seriously is a walking duck. I mean that, right? Even in the gameplay footage you guys are watching in the background, like I'm playing against some of the weirdest players in the world. Like you know, like I just wanted to get some decent gameplay footage because I don't want you guys to watch me be miserable on Hanzo. If I'm gonna play him and get footage for a Hanzo game, you know, I'm gonna go in quick play and, you know, just chill out and get some gameplay footage. So regardless, my point is, the thing I don't get about them is they have this weird obsession with, over time, this balance team in particular in Overwatch 2, they have this weird obsession where they want him to rely more and more on Storm Arrow. And here's the problem I have with that. In my personal opinion, Storm Arrow is actually everything that people hate about Hanzo, but people don't realize that that's the part of the kit that everybody hates. Now, usual complaints about Hanzo are things like, you know, I kind of want to address the misconceptions about the hero here and some of the community perceptions, you know, people outside of the DPS world that complain about these things is, people say things like, well, you know, Hanzo kills me with an arrow the size of a log. Well, funnily enough, if you look at this chart over here, Hanzo actually used to have the smallest projectile in the game, and with all the new projectiles sizes in the game, Hanzo still has one of the smallest projectile sizes in the game. So that is immediately debunked that he doesn't have a really massive projectile. Number two, another problem with Hanzo is, you know, people don't like the fact that, again, as I was saying back into my previous point, is, well, he just randomly killed me across the map. But my, you know, question to that is, how are you so sure that Hanzo didn't line up the shot? Usually, if you go back and rewatch the VOD, you know, where that, or the, you know, the replay that plays during the death sequence, after the death, is you can see that the Hanzo might be trying to predict your movement and trace your body before lining up the shot to shoot it towards your head, and he should be rewarded for being able to do that. Now, does that mean that there's never a case where a random headshot will get you? No, of course not. Like, you can do random headshots on 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐓𝐄𝐇, you can do random headshots with Kiriko and snipe somebody across the map. You have these moments with characters like Pharah and Echo too, where you're just spamming down a choke and out of nowhere you get a kill. Even with 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐓𝐄𝐇, this happens pretty frequently on some of the better maps. Seriously, I've had a lot of those on 𝐼𝐾𝐈𝐓𝐄𝐇 when you're defending with 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐓𝐄𝐇. It's just out of nowhere I get like 2 kills and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's the thing. So this problem is just not just exclusive to Hanzo. It's just a part of the game and we just have to accept it. Now, does that make Hanzo a dishonest hero, right? No, because there's more than enough tools in the game to deal with Hanzo, right? So, like, I already listed them all out from damage, tank, and support, and if you're still struggling against Hanzo till this day, I'm sorry, man, that's a massive skill issue, and you really need to work on your dueling skills. Load up the 𝐓𝐲𝐶 codes, load up the death matches, and start practicing on your favorite heroes. Seriously, you can't apply this approach to everything that, oh, this character is good at killing me, we should make this character feel bad, this character is good at doing damage, you know, we should kill this character, etc., etc. This is the wrong way to go about, you know, balancing the game. So now with that being said, you know, I kind of wanted to talk about Storm Arrow. I feel like Storm Arrow is the biggest problem in Hanzo's kit, and as long as he has this thing, especially the current balance team for Overwatch 2, they've tried to meddle around with it quite a bit of times, and it seems like they want that to be the strength of his kit, not actually his ability to snipe. They see it like when you're using his bow and arrow, it's to just lower somebody to a point where you can finish them off with a Storm Arrow, but in my opinion, that's just the wrong way going forward. Nobody plays Hanzo with that as the first thing at the back of their mind. Usually, Storm Arrow is used to pressure out the tank or to keep them in check. And that's another thing I don't like about Storm Arrow either, is Storm Arrow is one of those abilities in the game that just does way too much damage against the tank, and it's one of the biggest problems for the tank. Is like, you know, once that Hanzo looks at you and just insta throws all that damage, your HP bar can immediately disappear and you can be sent back to spawn. So, in my personal opinion, I would like for Hanzo to get his one-shot back, and I would like to see some more nerfs to Storm Arrow, or in my personal opinion, if we could go the full route, I think Storm Arrow should be completely removed from the game, and we should give Hanzo something new. I haven't actually thought about what something new that we can give him. I might even be open to giving him back Scatter Arrow. I don't think Scatter Arrow might even be that bad in the current gameplay environment. For some odd reason, they keep testing it in all these different game modes they keep giving us, where you can kind of see that they are considering it. Like, there's no reason for them to keep bringing it back, guys. Like, they've tested it in a bunch of, you know, different modes that we've had throughout the Overwatch 2 life, where it's like, oh, coincidentally, Hanzo has Scatter Arrow. Coincidentally, we have Scatter Arrow in this game mode too. And I do think that they are trying to test like what that world would kind of look like if in the current game environment they brought back Scatter Arrow, because there's been a big mobility creep, HP bars have gone up. It is interesting, you know. Regardless, the easiest and most simple solution to Hanzo's current problems is to give him his one-shot back. And, you know, the Storm Arrow problem is going to be there for a decent chunk of time. That is something that, in my opinion, we need to completely rework, maybe give him an entirely new ability. What that ability is, let's discuss that as a community down below. Hey guys, let me know, what would you give to Hanzo as a new ability, as a character with a bow and arrow? It can be something from your favorite MOBA game, it can be something from another FPS, you know, something to help with that playstyle that doesn't necessarily make him oppressive, but does enable him to maintain identity as a sniper. Again, the number one thing we need to understand is Hanzo's entire identity is he's a sniper. Now, tomorrow, if Widowmaker couldn't one-shot across the map, even I know Widow's another balancing nightmare too, but at the end of the day, that's what she's designed to do. Hanzo was also designed to do that. It's just, like, it just doesn't make sense that for almost 8 years, Hanzo could snipe, and now out of nowhere, we just decided, no, actually, he doesn't need to snipe to get kills. And it's like, what? Like, what? What if 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐓𝐄𝐇 was shooting out jawbreakers or water balloons instead of actual grenades, and they just tickled the enemy or made them wet and they just got slippery instead of doing actual damage? Like, my point is, that's over-exaggerated, but my point is that it's just silly the direction they've gone with this hero because of some golds and silver players complaining that, well, you know, I think it's unfair that Hanzo gets to do this, this, and this. Well, tough. It is what it is. I legitimately, it's a skill issue. Hanzo's really not that hard to deal with, and I actually think there's not been one time in Overwatch 2 where he's even been a meta pick. It's always been the faster paced characters, and everything that he can do, even at the moment, a lot of hit scans can do it much better than him. So once again, my solution to the Hanzo problem is just give him back his one shot. I know they said that they're going to be lowering most of the characters' HP pools to 225, and that should help him a little bit. So, you know, that's a good start. Let's see where we go from there. And in my opinion, we should definitely look at what is the deal with the storm arrow problem, because against tanks, it just feels horrible to play. It's not nice. Sometimes that thing gets spammed down chokes and it does find random kills. I do agree with there. And most importantly, for the love of God, revert the Dragon Strike buff. Whatever that thing that they thought was a buff is actually a massive nerf. I can't even use it as a zoning tool. It barely confirms skills. You can't even properly combo it with a Graviton Surge anymore, because if you miss the timing or the dragons are way too fast, there's a massive problem with that as well. So just revert everything for Hanzo to a certain degree, and let's revisit the hero a little bit later, because clearly the balance team is lost when it comes to him, okay? Anyways, everybody, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this type of content, you want more, please do hit like and subscribe. It's the free way to support the channel. If you want to support the channel financially, I now have a Patreon running and I have a YouTube memberships going. So whichever one is easier for you to support me, if you want to do so, feel free to use either of them. And, you know, I would greatly appreciate it. With that said, I will see you in the next video.